ਸਤਨਾਮ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ। ਗੋਬਿੰਦੇ ਮੁਕੰਦੇ ਉਦਾਰੇ ਅਪਾਰੇ, ਹਰਿਯੰ ਕਰਿਯੰ ਨਿਰਨਾਮੇ ਅਕਾਮੇ। ਗੋਬਿੰਦੇ ਮੁਕੰਦੇ ਉਦਾਰੇ ਅਪਾਰੇ, ਹਰਿਯੰ ਕਰਿਯੰ ਨਿਰਨਾਮੇ ਅਕਾਮੇ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Maharaj Kirpa, today we are going to do Vichar of Adhyaae 7th, where Raja Janak ji is describing his Atam Sarup, his self Sarup. Now, it is no matter how much one can try to explain the Atam Sarup in words, it's not possible because the consciousness does not come under words. Still, words are used to express it as pointers towards something. Just like if you're pointing towards a mountain to describe, to give a direction, same way, words hold on to the power of realizing something that is beyond the words itself. And that's why it's called a katha in Gurbani as well. So Raja Janak ji says that Muj Anant Mahasagar vich Vishwa Roop Kishti ਆਪਣੇ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਅਨੁਰੂਪੀ ਹਵਾ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਧਰ ਉੱਧਰ ਘੁੰਮਦੀ ਹੈ. Raja Janak says that in my sarup, that I am this limitless consciousness, this awareness that has no form, and it is limit. There is no limit to it. It's limitless. Only thing that comes in form, that's limited. For instance, this body is limited, but the awareness consciousness itself has no limit. It's present everywhere. So in my this asal sarup, in my real pure sarup form, this world is like that boat which moves around from one direction to another. Sometimes this boat, this world goes from one place to another, one direction to another, and it's the very nature of the world. Why is it doing it? Just like how the very nature of wind is to move, to blow, same way the very nature of the world is to move, to come under change. And that's why the world is constantly changing. Nothing remains the same. Everything from day to night, from month by month, from year by year, for billions of years, the world is constantly changing. But my actual Sarup, this awareness that which I am, has no effect of it because that doesn't change. The Atma, the consciousness remains still, no matter how much the world is changing. Just like how the bubble is formed in the ocean, same way, like Gurbani explains, that this world is like that bubble and it comes up, it appears in that ocean, in the consciousness, and then it merges back in that. So the consciousness itself is not affected by it. Salok ਮੁਝ ਅਨੰਤ ਮਹਾਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਗਤ ਰੂਪੀ ਲਹਿਰ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਜਾਂ ਲੀਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਵਾਧਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਘਾਟਾ. Raja Janak ji is saying that in my this limitless form, the world is like taking place like a wave, just like understanding from the analogy of ocean. What happens when the wind blows over the ocean? So just if you observe that the ocean itself is still, the moment that the air when the air is in motion, we call it wind. So it takes the form of the wind. And just when the wind touches the surface of the ocean, it gives birth to the wave. Now, if you notice, going within the ocean is absolutely still. We don't notice any waves or any much motion in there. Same way, the ocean, when the wind touches the surface of the ocean, it gives birth to the waves or bubbles. From that analogy, just comparing that to the Atam Sarup, to the Jagat Sarup as well, that when the air, the wind touches this, the consciousness, it gives birth to thought as well. And in that thought, the world is actually being born because the world actually exists at the mind level only. However, in my own Sarup, in my awareness, if you notice that there is no change happening, the awareness neither changes nor it decreases or increases. There is no expansion happening in the awareness. No matter in whatever the world is changing, the awareness consciousness remains still, absolutely without wavering. And in Gurbani as well, Maharaj explains that all the forms, all the forms that we perceive are created by the mind. So this world actually is a manifestation that has occurred from the mind. So what is mind? Mind is the combination of thoughts. In reality, mind is nothing else but just the combination of the thoughts. And these thoughts are like those waves that come on the surface of the consciousness. And then after some time, they go back into that. Now, you being the ocean, the consciousness, has absolute nothing to do with that because so many waves can be formed in the ocean and then they merge back, but the ocean does not get affected by it. And all the world that we see when we take form, for instance, let's understand how the impressions work on the mind. Someone shows us a picture of apple and they say, this is what an apple looks like. Now, to a child who has never seen an apple, who doesn't know what an apple is, that picture is going to leave an impression on the mind. And the child is going to hold on to that impression and accept and understand that this is what an apple looks like. For rest of his life, he will know what an apple looks like. And that's because that picture that he saw, that created an impression on the mind. And after the child had accepted that this is what an apple looks like, the color of the apple is red, or there are green too. So that created an impression on the mind. With that impression, it gave birth to a form. And the impressions that are on the mind, the more that we have different forms of different people, different objects. But when we realize who we are that we, as in the awareness, have no form. So in that formless state, the we understand that that was the impression of the mind. Same way, all the Mahapurakh, all the Guru Sahib, even Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj said that don't consider my body as, don't worship it. Don't consider it as the ultimate truth. The reason is because you will have this desire to see that body. But the truth is, the body is a jad vastu. Jad means that which does not have the capacity to move on its own from one place to another. So that's why Guru Gobind Singh Ji or all the Mahapuraks clearly say that I am formless. Don't get stuck onto this form of the body because you're not going to be able to find it. So that form was created within our mind that Guru Gobind Singh Ji looked certain way, and then we start having this desire to see that form. Now the truth is, where is this form actually created? It's being created within the mind. The mind constantly creates forms based on the information that's being sent to it. So that's why Maharaj, in spirituality, they say to understand the Nirakar, formless, first of all, it is okay to have some kind of form in your mind, a form of a Mahapurukh. Uh, for instance, if someone worships Krishna, do bhakti of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So these are the forms of the same formless. Only through the form one can reach then the formless, because it's hard to understand, perceive the form, that which does not have a form. So that's a direction to pointing out to something that doesn't come in any form. Salok, ਮੁਝ ਅਨੰਤ ਮਹਾਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਲਪਨਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਹੈ. So Raja Janak says, in me, who is this ocean, I'm this vast ocean of consciousness, and in this, the world is nothing but an imagination. Day and night, there are imaginations happening. ਮੈਂ ਅਤਿਅੰਤ ਸ਼ਾਂਤ ਹਾਂ, ਨਿਰਾਕਾਰ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਸਥਿਤ ਹਾਂ. However, I'm extremely at peace and I have no form whatsoever. And in that way, I am remaining still in this my Shuddha Sarup of awareness. Even though I have understood how the world is formed, I'm absolutely detached from it and present as who I am really, which is this formless, peaceful, which we call Sat Chit Anand. ਪਰਮ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਦੀ ਕਲਪਨਾ ਸਾਗਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਹਿਰ ਵਾਂਗ ਹੈ. Yeah, it's the same analogy what we discussed, that no matter how many waves are formed in the ocean or bubbles, it does not affect the ocean. Same way, no matter how many thoughts are there that occur in the consciousness, it does not affect the consciousness itself. ਸਲੋਕ ਆਤਮਾ ਪਦਾਰਥਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ, ਨਾ ਹੀ ਪਦਾਰਥ ਆਤਮਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਹਨ, ਜੋ ਅਨੰਤ ਅਤੇ ਨਿਰਮਲ ਹੈ. So the Atma consciousness is limitless and it is pure. ਇਹ ਸੰਗ ਰਹਿਤ, it is without any attachment to anything. It is forever detached. Ichha rahat, it is desireless. The consciousness itself does not have any desires. The desires happen in the mind. Shant hai, and it is absolutely peaceful. That's why the closer we get to the realization, we experience so much peace within that, because it is the very nature of consciousness. Isse tarah main sthit haan. In the same way, Raja Janak ji is saying that this is how I'm practicing every day. I know what are the qualities of Atma, and within myself, I'm practicing those qualities. I'm remaining detached without any desires, and in this absolute peace that does not end. In the same way, I'm staying still. ਪਦਾਰਥ ਆਕਾਰ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਨ, ਜੜ ਹਨ. So all the objects that we see, the objects we want to grasp to, these are jad. Like we discussed, that jad is that which does not move on its own. Just like how a fan cannot function on its own, it's the electricity that moves it. So the fan is a jada vastu. Same way, the body is a jada vastu. It does not move on its own without the activity of the consciousness. So, same way, all the objects are jada vastu, and they are naswan. They get destroyed over and over time. When the time passes, things get destroyed. And everything falls in this category, from houses, cars, family, career, everything. If you understand, they are in a limit. They have some set time of limit, and after completing that cycle, they get destroyed. But having said that, the consciousness, the awareness does not change, nor it takes form, nor it's born, nor it gets destroyed, and it is present in everywhere equally. Salok, oh, मैं चेतन स्वरूप हाँ. Raja Janak ji says, I am that awareness, that consciousness. Jagat jadoo di khed varga hai. And this world is like this magical play going on. ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਚੰਗੇ ਮਾੜੇ ਦੀ ਕਲਪਨਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਅਤੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਕਰਾਂ. When I have realized that this world is just nothing but a play going on in the consciousness, how can I even imagine something to be good or bad? The truth is, there is no good or bad happening. It's just a imagination that's a play going on in the mind's imagination. So, in here, Raja Janakji is explaining about his state of liberation. And same way Gurbani says that Gurmukh Jan, those who take Sikhya from the Guru and they have realized their self, they are liberated as well. They are not attached to anything anymore. And they are forever free within themselves. They have no bondage left. And because they have practiced this, Mantu Jot Sarup hai, Apna Mool Pashan, they have practiced what Guru Bani has said, what the Granths have said, and they have experienced that the own Sarup as well. So in the next Adhyaae, Astavakra ji explains about Bandhan and what is Mukti. That what is this bondage, what is this thing bondage that we call, and what is this thing mukti, this liberation that we call. So what they Ashtavakra ji is going to explain all both of these in detail now. Salok, ਅਸ਼ਟਵਕਰ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਨ ਕੁਝ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਮਿਲਣ ਤੇ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ. So what happens when the mind wants something and when it doesn't get it, what does the mind experience? Dukh, sadness, that I did not get that. ਕੁਝ ਛੱਡਣਾ ਹੈ ਕੁਝ ਕੁਝ ਛੱਡਦਾ ਹੈ ਕੁਝ ਪਕੜਦਾ ਹੈ. So here Ashtavakra ji is explaining the nature of mind, that what causes mind to be in bondage. Whenever the mind wants something, then when things don't go according to the mind's expectation, or the mind does not get that particular thing, the mind becomes disappointed. It experiences sadness. And sometimes the mind wants some certain things, and sometimes it doesn't want anything. Sometimes the mind wants to let go of certain things. Sometimes the mind doesn't want to spend time with family because it thinks that if it goes physically goes away from them, the mind somehow it thinks that it's going to find peace. But the truth is, even Gurbani said, why are you going to the forest to find this Akal Purukh, this Jodh, when it is present within yourself right now? So when even if you go away from your family or friends, understand that the mind is constantly going to remind you about them. It's not like that once you go away, the family is going to disappear. Your mind is going to constantly play that story of your family, and still you're going to remain ashant. You're not going to find peace just by going away from your house. And sometimes what the nature of mind is, it holds on to things, and sometimes it wants to let go. And from certain things, when the mind gets things according to its desires, it becomes pleased, it becomes happy. And to some, it becomes disappointed. And Ashtavakra is saying this is the bandhan, this is the very bondage of mind. So, this is a good practice for each one of us to practice that, to notice where the mind is actually going towards. What are the desires that the mind wants? What is that thing that the mind wants? So, ਹਰ ਕੰਮ ਦੇ ਮੂਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਛਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ. Now, here it's beautifully explained that whatever, no matter whatever action you're doing, work you're doing, you're taking an action, there is a root cause of a desire behind it. Now, in your day to day life, you can practice in that way. Observe whatever you're doing. For instance, let's say you're doing part, you're doing seva, you're going to Gurudwara doing some seva. Ask yourself, what is the root desire that I'm doing? I'm doing this thing, and what's the driving force behind it? You will get the answer that there is always a desire behind it. Very rare people do some certain things without having any desire. Now, in that desire, if you're having a desire of um, prema bhakti, of Brahma Gyan, of Nishkam Seva, then it's absolutely considered a very good desire to have, because that is the desire that's going to give birth to the self realization. But if you're having a desire of recognition that somehow you're going to get a reward, then you're only wasting you're getting entangling yourself into more and more um, troubles in a way, because those desires will never have an end to it. The only desire is to realize yourselves, Gobind Milan, to understand who you are. That is the only most uttam desire that's considered. ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ ਅਰਥਾਤ ਕਿਸੇ ਵਸਤੂ ਲਈ ਇੱਛਾ ਜਾਗਦੀ ਹੈ, ਤਦ ਉਹ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਤ੍ਰਿਪਤੀ ਲਈ ਕਈ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਪੰਚ ਰਚਦਾ ਹੈ. So what happens when there is a desire to obtain something, be it be career, anything that you want to have? In that desire state, we constantly do so many things to obtain that thing. And when we get that, we become happy. And if we don't get it, we feel disappointment, sadness. Yeah, we sometimes go into depression because things are not unfolding according to the mind's desires. So, this is exactly what the bandhan is. This is exactly what the bondage is. These are the taram of they and the mind. They are not the taram of who you really are. ਸਲੋਕ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਨ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਚਾਹੇ, ਨਾ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਪਕੜਨਾ ਚਾਹੇ, ਨਾ ਛੱਡਣਾ ਚਾਹੇ, ਨਾ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੋਵੇ, ਨਾ ਗੁੱਸੇ ਹੋਵੇ, ਉਦੋਂ ਮੁਕਤੀ ਹੈ. And what is liberation? What is the true freedom? When the mind does not want anything. What a simple way at the same time it is. However, it is very difficult at the same time too. And that's why constant practice is required. Now, this is something very beautifully and in a simple way explained, that the moment that you want something, you are in bondage. The moment when the mind does not want anything, nor it becomes upset if anything happens, nor it wants to hold on to something, nor it wants to let go of anything, nor the mind becomes pleased with any of the activities, nor it becomes angry with anything. This is the state of liberation, of freedom. Even in spirituality, oftentimes when um, people walk in the path of spirituality, they start wanting to chase certain experiences as well. That's bondage too. In spirituality, first we don't know what spirituality is, then we start walking towards that path or towards becoming a gurmukh. In that as well, we are constantly being in that state of bondage, because we still want to experience something rather than being absolutely in tranquility about what is absolutely happening as it is. So Maharaj is saying, can you accept the moment for as it is? The moment when you have absolute no desire, no friction, you are free. And you kind of rise above all these emotions. And what does it mean? That the person understands that ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਦੇਹ ਦੀ ਪੱਥਰ ਉੱਤੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਜੀ ਰਿਹਾ. The person is no longer living according to just the body. The person understands that this body is temporary, and it's like they just become the observer of it. ਜੋ ਦੇਹ ਤੋਂ ਅਲਿਪਤ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਦੀ ਘਾਲਣਾ ਸਫਲ ਹੋ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ. Those who are detached, who does not get affected by the body, the activities happening in the body, or the how the body is changing, they have conquered their mind, they have understood the truth, and their bhakti, their gyan has become safal. They have become successful in attaining that. ਉਸਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ, ਉਹ ਮੁਕਤੀ ਹੀ ਹੈ. Then that self-realized person does not have any other further bhakti to do or seeking left. Oftentimes they still do it because they know there are people still who are around them and who are watching them, so they still do for the paropkar of others. However, they no longer even worship Paramatma as well. And there is another meaning of that, that whatever naturally happens according to the pralabdha, they just experience it in a very equal form. So whatever happens in front of them, they just experience it in a very sahaj avastha. Salok, ਜਦੋਂ ਮਨ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਸਕਤ ਹੈ, whenever the mind wants something, then there is bondage. So such a simple thing, something we can reflect on, that what is the question we can ask is, what is my mind wanting? That want is the reason of the bondage. The want is the reason for birth and death, of incarnation. That very want is the reason. ਜਦੋਂ ਮਨ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਵਿਸ਼ਿਆਂ ਪ੍ਰਤੀ ਆਸਕਤੀ ਰਹਿਤ ਹੈ ਤਦ ਉਦੋਂ ਮੁਕਤ ਹੈ. And when the mind has absolute no desire, want of any of the objects, because it has understood that these objects are temporary, they are not going to last. Only thing that's permanent is the Atam Sarup. So the mind becomes one with the consciousness. So the mind of Brahmanyani, that mind becomes very pure as well. It becomes Jyot Sarup itself. And in that state, it is free. Salok, jad main nahi, tad mukti hai. Jad main hai, tad bandhan hai. When there is this separate identity that I am this body, I'm separate to everyone else, then it is bondage. But when we realize that the Shuddha man, that the Shuddha presence of awareness is everywhere as well, that's mukti, that's liberation. ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਨਾ ਇੱਛਾ ਨਾਲ ਕੁਝ ਗ੍ਰਹਿਣ ਕਰ ਨਾ ਤਿਆਗ ਕਰ. And in this way, man ke, Maharaj says that don't consider yourself to be separate to this universe as well, that I am this body and the universe is something else. In this way, accept this and let go of all the desires. And by practicing that, don't hold on to anything, or don't like renounce anything as well. You don't have to renounce anything or consume something, like have that fear of consuming anything as well, because you're already free. So where there is man, like me, myself, there is mine as well. What is this man actually? It's explained here. What happens? We say that this body is mine, this house is mine, this family is mine, this status is mine, this career is mine, this wealth is mine, and these thoughts are mine. So all these are, we see how constantly we have labeled these things to be mine, and this becomes the cause of the dukh and sukh. Within an instant, you can become liberated by letting go of this illusion that this is who you are. You are not any of these. You're not your house. This house does not belong to you. Now, if you really try to reflect this, wherever you are sitting right now, there have been many people who have come and sat at the same spot. The house where you are, many people owed it maybe as, before as well, before you came. So is it really yours? We just label it, and, in a way that this is mine. And because of this, all this constant labeling of things, ਭਾਵ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਨਾਲ ਬੱਝਾ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ. We become entangled, we become attached to the world. And in that way, Mara says that let go of this constant labeling that you are doing. Home with sab kar kamave. Because of this home, we constantly do so many things. So this is a adhyay about explaining about what is the Shuddha Sarup, Par Brahm Sarup, and what is um, the labels we are holding on to. A very beautiful practice we can all do in our day-to-day life. That what am I really? That is a good home to have. We need that to realize. And every day, question yourself before you're doing any type of seva or act, ask yourself that what am I, what is this deep desire that I'm doing it? What is the reason behind it? Am I doing it without any desire? Or am I actually doing because I want something out of it? The moment you will realize it, drop that desire. Give that away to this whole life that is unfolding. That's what surrender is. And in that moment, the life will unfold in a very beautiful way. Even without desire, the life is going to unfold. But it is the desires that keep us constantly going through this loop of dukh sukh, this happiness and this disappointment. It is the desires as the cause of it. This expectation that life should unfold according to certain way. Can you accept life for as it is? Can you accept everything? Can you drop that expectation? Can you drop that expectation from people around you, from life itself, and see how you feel within yourself? The very root cause of the suffering is the desires, the expectations. So, Maharaj Kirpa, we will take Vishram here. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.